Well, let me explain how this meeting, this press conference, this mini rally, if you like, came about. Every night, NoBurnBroome.com has a Zoom meeting from 6 o'clock onwards, and you're invited to join that. And during this meeting, it was Mackenzie that brought it up, but she quickly got support from Liana and Lindsay. We need to get people surrounding that plant to show how many people are concerned. And we want young people. We want the mayor and the trustees to hear from the young people, because it is our future. And hence the slogan for today's meeting, or the message, is don't burn our future. It's their future. I don't know how many years you've got. I've only got a few left. It's their future. So it's not my meeting. I'm just here. I have a frying pan just in case someone talks more than 5 minutes. But the women, these young women, did ask me, they said, you're a professor of chemistry, would you start by talking about what the problem is from an environmental health point of view with this facility, so that they don't have to worry about lithium and cobalt and dioxins and so on. They want to talk from the heart of what this means to be living in Endicott, loving Endicott, and having it ruined by a bad decision. So let me just briefly summarize what's going to happen in that building. 100 feet from where people live, a short distance from where kids play and swim and play baseball and so on. What's going to happen? Well, the mayor and the South Korean company that's going to run this facility, Sunjeel, says this is a recycling plant, whereas No Burn Broome says this is an incineration plant. We're both right. We're both right. Sunjeel is going to take lithium batteries and extract and recover the metals, valuable metals, cobalt, nickel, manganese, lithium, and send these back to South Korea. Okay. So it is a recycling plant. But in the process, they use two steps which are very dangerous. One is a rotary kiln running at a high temperature, 600 degrees Celsius. And the second step is what they call an afterburner, what I would call an incinerator. They produce gases in the rotary kiln, they produce gases and particles, and then in the afterburner, they burn them. And you get all the problems of burning, which thousands of communities across the world have fought day and night to stop incinerators coming from their town because of the dangers of burning waste. Now, I'd like to illustrate this point of what's happening here, because there's the key step in this process is the rotary kiln, which is going to heat the batteries up. Now, what Sunjeel wants is the metal. They want the metals. And yes, the metals don't burn. The metals will be left on the grate, and they will go down a conveyor belt, and then they'll be ground, and they will recover the metals. We're worried about the handle here. This handle is plastic. That will burn. It will first of all vaporize in the kiln, this plastic. The plastic casings, the plastic dividers, other junk in the non-metallic junk in the batteries will first of all vaporize to produce gases. That will produce dangerous products right then. And then secondly, those gases will be burnt and produce more toxic byproducts. From that moment onwards, the safety of this community completely depends upon the air pollution control equipment working well 100% of the time. No leaks, no accidents, and so on. But again, Sunjeel wants the metals, Endicott gets the plastics, the pollution from the plastics. And as a chemist, I'd like to say a little bit more about sorry. Wrong mic. I'd like to say a little bit more about the kind of substances that are in that battery, which when they're burnt, produce the most toxic products that we've ever known, which weren't even considered by the DEC when they gave that air permit. One of those products, because there's a lot of Fluorine. There's a lot of fluorinated products. And if I give you the names, polyvanillidine difluoride, it's a binder. Lithium phosphorus hexafluoride, PFOAs in a couple of places. When they are burnt, these fluorinated products, oh, and the other reason for the frying pan. You're all familiar with non-stick frying pans, right? That non-stick part is Freon, Teflon. That is completely saturated with fluorine. It is incredibly stable. It's stable to solvents, to chemicals. It's a wonderful material until it is overheated. Do you know that if you overheat a non-stick frying pan in your kitchen, you could kill a caged bird in the kitchen? And did you know that you get symptoms, the adults get symptoms like flu? So on the one hand, you've got material looks pretty stable when you're using it in cell phones or whatever, but the problem comes when you heat them and then when you burn the gases. And one of the things that you produce when you heat these polyfluorinated materials is hydrogen fluoride, which is a killer. It's one of the most feared chemicals in the chemical industry. I'll give you a little story. I learned this in Perth, Western Australia. A gentleman was using hydrofluoric acid. He knew it was dangerous. He spilled some on his leg, and he knew enough to run straight and jump into the swimming pool before that hydrofluoric acid went through his flesh, reached his heart muscle, and shut it down. He wasn't in time. It killed him. Just spilt a little on his leg. So hydrogen fluoride, so you have to worry about these workers in here. And that's why they have to wear hazmat suits in this facility. Because they're protecting themselves. They need to protect themselves against hydrogen fluoride if it escapes. But in addition to that, one of the things which we're very concerned, well, two things, I'm going to stop. One thing is these polyfluorinated alkyl substances, PFAS. The DEC is worried about this, but it didn't feature in their air permit. The EPA is very worried about this. John Respirtani, who's here, is very worried about this. On the radio this morning, Dr. Linda Birnbaum, who is the head of the National Institute of Environmental Health Sciences, said PFAS are the dioxins of the 21st century. We really don't know the full health effects of these substances. All we know is they are persistent, and they're everywhere, and they're in everybody's tissues. We don't need any more, and we certainly don't need any more for people that have already been poisoned by previous operations in this city. I've said more than enough, so I'd like to go over now to our, first of all, I just want to stress what a gutsy thing these three girls are doing. If you ask the average person, the second most feared thing after going to the dentist is speaking, sorry Howard, the second thing is speaking in public. It's nerve-wracking for most people. So for these young women to do this means it's very important to them. I think they should be applauded. Whatever they say, it's gutsy. So our first speaker is Liana.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Liana. I am a UE graduate. I was born and raised in Endicott. I am here today to say that it's not just the older generation that doesn't want this. It's the younger generation as well. So today, we are representing the millennials and Generation Z. We're here to let you know that it doesn't take a doctor, a scientist, an environmentalist, or even someone who has a PhD in chemistry to realize how damaging this will be to our health and safety of our community. Why would we welcome an incinerator that will be producing toxins in the air we breathe, the water we use, and the ground that children play on? If you're not already aware, last week our town board had a vote on changing zoning laws to accommodate companies like this and others who will potentially pollute and destroy our already contaminated village. This zoning change did not include any safety regulations. 2 of our board members were completely against the zoning change. However, they were continuously outvoted because the remaining trustees and our mayor, Linda Jackson, had the same yes vote every time. Linda was elected mayor by us. She is a public servant. Sorry, give me 1 second. Okay. Linda was elected mayor by us. She's a public servant, but it seems as if she can't properly and respectfully respond to our emails, let alone answer our questions or concerns. Mayor Jackson, we are your constituents. You may be listening, but you are not hearing us. There has been no fact-checking to protect our health and safety. The only information and data about the toxic emissions from this facility that has been used by the DEC was collected by the Sungeo plant in Korea. There was no DEC-approved company checking these measurements. The plant in Korea is over 3 miles from the nearest residential area. If this plant comes to Endicott, our public parks, homes, and businesses will be right in its backyard. In Korea, the chimney stacks are 500 feet. In Endicott, they will be only 111 feet. We are in a valley, while the Korean plant is on flat terrain near the sea. Their fumes are dispersed far and wide. Ours will fall directly on these homes and on these fields, especially when it rains. What upsets me is that they will claim the valuable metals from these batteries and send them back to South Korea. But in Endicott, they will leave behind the poisons that are produced from heating plastic and other junk, as well as the burn-off the gases will emit. They get the valuables, we get the poisons. This isn't benefiting us at all. The mayor says this will create jobs. But are they safe jobs? Because last I checked, if you have to wear a hazmat suit and a respirator mask just to work in a facility, that is far from a safe job. The few jobs created will not outweigh the declining property values and increased risk to public health. If this facility comes to Endicott, this will be an experiment. And I don't want to be a guinea pig. Do any of you want to be a guinea pig? No! All we ask is to not put any industrial business that will harm and destroy the lives of many people in a residential area. Thank you.
Wonderful. Before I Before I introduce the next speaker, just to remind you, our website is noburnbroome.com. If you go there, there's several important things you can do. Right now, the most important thing is to make a contribution, if you can spare it, just a few dollars, in GoFundMe. You go for it, GoFundMe. It's very simple to do. Well, the reason we need money is that if we don't succeed on Monday, and get the mayor to rescind this, put it on hold until we've had a full public hearing, etc. If we don't succeed on Monday, then the next thing we have to do is to take the village board to court. Now, that's expensive. We're trying to raise $10,000. Right now, we're just at, $700 or $800. So anything that you can spare for that. When you're on that web page, you can see other things. You can sign a petition. We've got over 3,000 people have signed that petition already. Add your name to that. We're also looking for people that are living within 100 feet of the industrial area, any industrial area. And who should they go to see? Is it John? Rob? If you go to Rob, you say, I think I live within 100 feet of the industrial zone. Rob needs your name. Because if we get enough people there, then the council can only vote this in 4-1. They need a supermajority, which they do not have. So if we just get 20% of those people that live and own property within 100 feet of the, we're home and clear. And that would be the simplest and cheapest way to stop this thing. So go to that webpage, noburnbroome.com, and my wife keeps it up to date, daily things. We got a nice letter from Fred Ackshaw. He sent it to the mayor saying, slow down. And also we're asking you to send letters to all our political representatives. Now here's the thing, we don't have much time. Over the weekend, could you write a short letter to Donna Lopato, and there's a couple of other people on there. She's for it right now. She needs to be persuaded to come off, stop supporting this thing, and tell the mayor to stop. So you can, we've got 2 sample letters, one long, one short, anything that you can say. If you use a sample letter, please personalize it by, in the first sentence, explaining who you are. Because if it looks identical, you just become a number. If you say something personal, then it's a person writing to them. Enough from me. Next person is Mackenzie.
Thank you. Hello everyone, good afternoon. Thank you so much for coming today. My name is Mackenzie. I'm 23 years old and I've lived in Endicott my whole life. I am also a graduate of Union Endicott High School, class of 2014. Woo! I'm here today because this is my home. I am deeply concerned and saddened that our mayor and 2 village board members have not considered the public outcry against this. As you can see, this many people in Endicott are against this. There are so many more, and they are not listening. It seems as though they do not care about what the people have to say, especially due to how quickly this has been happening in the midst of a pandemic nonetheless. Many residents are still unaware and in the dark about this, and many questions have gone unanswered. We want our questions answered. Why is this so hush-hush and in a rush to pass during a pandemic? It genuinely makes me wonder what else could be going on behind the scenes. I am also here today because of my age. I'm 23, and I want to represent my age group and the millennials and also Gen Z, because we have a voice too. My future children have a voice. These families and the children that live in these homes have a voice too. This will be directly in their backyard, and it is not right. There are baseball fields here where children play baseball and softball, summer after summer after summer, as I myself have played softball for 12 years at these fields. What parent would want their children to play at a ball game directly in front of smokestacks? I am very passionate about this because I cannot bear to see the day my town becomes an industrial waste dumping ground, and I will do whatever it takes to stop it. We will not stop fighting, and we will never forget this. Thank you.
Aren't they terrific? Terrific spokespersons. Look, Lindsay. Wow, you've got 2 hard acts to follow, Lindsay.
I do. All right, hi everyone. My name is Lindsay. I'm 27 years old. I am a 2011 UE graduate, and I am the oldest out of the 3. So we kind of have, little gaps in our generations. I've been here my whole life. This is my home. This is where I grew up. So, I recently purchased a home with my husband a couple years ago, and we bought in Endicott. And in a span of 8 months, we looked at over 63 houses. Now that is my version of due diligence, okay? You know, going to one company is not going to make any sense whatsoever. So why would the village trust one company from a completely different country to come here? Why would you believe someone that has a completely different facility than this? Someone that has smokestacks over 500 feet, someone that's on a peninsula and not in a valley. We don't know what kind of effects our weather's going to have on that. We don't know what's coming out of those smokestacks and settling when it rains or when it gets 20 degrees at night and then flips to 70 the next day. We don't know. And that's why I'm here. I feel like there hasn't been enough information given to the public at all. In a span of just 13 days, on the village website, there has only been 8 documents listed about this facility. That is not okay. That is not enough information. You don't have enough time in 2 weeks to figure out what this facility is about, what's going to be happening, and all the processes that are going to be taking place. It's not fair that they are not listening to us, and we really need to be heard about this. So, another thing is, like they said, it's right next to the baseball field. It's right next to the Z pool. And the worst part is the homes that children are in. The St. Anthony's Learning Center is right up the hill. Do you want your kids outside when that is spewing God knows what? Absolutely not. So I come to you today to please make your voice heard. I don't care what it takes at this point. So please, if you have not signed our change.org petition, if you feel like you are in 100 feet of the industrial zone, please talk to Rob, sign our petition, and please understand that our GoFundMe is for legal fees only. We really need any help that we can get. And anything that is left over will be donated to charities such as the Mercy House, such as the Broome County Humane Society, such as St. Jude's Research. You will be doing more than just helping here. You will be stopping this from coming anywhere else. Thank you.
Hi there. My name is Bill Huston. Thank you. I just want to say a couple of words, and I hope I'm lining up with my camera. So, I'm not doing the work that I do for accolades. I'm not doing this work that I do to protect clean air and water. I'm not doing it for merit or recognition or anything like that. I do it because protecting clean air and water is the right thing to do. And I know all of you are here for the same reason that I am. And I've been involved in a lot of different environmental campaigns. I mean, quite a few. And remarkably, quite a few winning ones. So you might not all agree with the stuff I've been working on. Let me just tell you, Constitution Pipeline, 8 years and we killed it. It was a $1 billion project. And if you add up the companies, the backers, all of their market capitalization, it's about $50 or $60 billion. So if you ever hear people, I've been hearing people say, oh, we're up against the so-and-so family. I'm not going to say their name. You know what I'm talking about. You're up against the so-and-so family. They're billionaires. You know what? That doesn't scare me. And it shouldn't scare you either, because I'll tell you another one. LPG storage at Seneca Lake, 88.1 million gallons. We defeated that. People power. I'll tell you another one. Thank you. And here's another one. Town of Fenton. Very, very similar to here. Bomb truck terminal. Do you remember that a few years ago? Guess who broke the story? Guess who figured out what a bomb truck was? Was it? It was me. I'll just tell you. It was me. I figured out what a bomb truck was, and I went and I alerted the town of Fenton. I did a press conference kind of like this, and you can find it online. So I'm just saying, I'm not doing this for recognition, but not everybody has a voice in No Burn Broome, and you're not being told all the information. We have another group There's several groups formed, okay? One is called Concerned Citizens of Endicott. I encourage you all to join the group and the page on Facebook. Get involved with Concerned Citizens of Endicott, because we try to be more inclusive and give everybody a voice. So one quick thing about what you can be doing. Everybody wants to know, what can I do? This protest petition that they're talking about is really a long shot. I'm just saying, it's a super long shot. So to be putting a lot of energy into a long shot, I don't know, maybe there's something better we can be doing. Here's what I suggest to you. Contact the New York State Attorney General. You know why? Because the Attorney General has a jurisdiction of investigating public corruption. And that's what's happening here. We have tons of evidence. We've got recordings of meetings. We got rosters of meetings. Contact the Attorney General. Get the Attorney General investigating all these people that are pushing this thing. That's a really good thing that you can do. I got one more thing to say. Oh, Bill Huston podcast. I have 6 months worth of research on that channel. 6 months. If you want to go do a deep dive and learn all about the history of this place, Bill Huston podcast. Lastly, if it comes down to it, if all administrative remedies fail, I believe that No Burn Broome is focused on the administrative remedy. That's why they hired an attorney. If the administrative remedies fail, we all should be prepared to do nonviolent direct action. And that means blocking the facility with our bodies. And there's a long history of this, dating back all the way to 1990. My name is Allegheny County. Look up that video. My name is Allegheny County. Look up We Are Seneca Lake. 600 people got arrested at Seneca Lake, blockading an illegally permitted facility, not just like this, but similar, you know what I'm saying? So there's a nonviolent direct action group that's starting. It's so disorganized it doesn't have a name. If you want to learn more, please contact me. Who goes next? Thank you, Paul.
Hello, everyone. My name is Rob Taberi. Paul mentioned me earlier. Bill, thanks for the comments. You made some really good points. To the 3 girls as well, wonderful job. Another round of applause, please. So we talk about petitions. Let me be clear. There's 2 petitions. If you go to noburnbroome.com, the petition that's there can be signed by everybody. We have about 3,500 signatures just in 2 weeks for people that are against this. It's real simple. And it grows at about 150 a day. So all the village officials know this, the politicians know this, and I sent a letter to some of them this past week saying that just because they don't receive an email or a phone call doesn't mean that there aren't other forms of communication like Facebook and petitions and websites. So noburnbroome.com, the petition that's out there, if you can go out and sign that, it takes about 30 seconds. Now the other petition is what Paul talked about, and that's what is called the Blue Zone. The Blue Industrial Zone, there's 3 of them here in Endicott. It is pretty much from Roble Ave down Watson till you get to Hayes, where Galt is, right? Where the Galt dealership is. And then you come back on North Street, back down here toward past Price Chopper. All these buildings in here is the big blue zone, okay? So 100 feet, which means across the street, all the houses down Watson, the houses in back of me, over here on, some of them on Vermont, some on Roble, and then all along North Street, all the way down till you get to just about the cider mill. That's the industrial zone. That's one of them. The next one is down toward As you go down West Franklin here, before you get to Jimmy Roma's Bakery, there are a number of houses there right on Franklin, on Loader, Liberty, and then the final one, the third industrial zone, is down toward Jennings Street, where you have Agway, Evans Mechanical, Maple Street, down next to Post 1700, down Maple, and then across the railroad tracks when you get in front of like George Industries toward Felix Roma Bakery. So those people are within 100 feet, and I know I'm being kind of generic right now, but we need those signatures really, really bad. And I have all the everything listed here, so please see me afterwards. Okay? Thank you.
Even if you know
Question. We're very, very close.
Second question, do you need more volunteers to go door to door?
Yeah, so the first question was, how close are we to the 20% of the signatures for the blue zone? And the answer is we are very, very close. And then do we need volunteers? We absolutely do. And I have all the unsigned residences with me right now.
Rob, we have some elected officials here too. We have some elected officials that could speak and talk about what they're willing to do to help us.
Oh, good. That's very good. Before we do that, I just want to emphasize, yeah, Bill is right. This is a long shot. This is a long shot. But it's the easiest way of winning. If you can pull, I don't argue about it. If we can do this, if we can get this 20%, it is all over. Because we then have a 4-1 to majority. They can't do anything without it. I'm not going to argue about it. Let's hear from some other people.
There is already an existing requirement for a supermajority vote because the village ignored the changes, the modifications from the 239 review. Talk about that. They voted it down. This is already dead.
Okay.
It's
all
dead.
Right.
It's dead. I'm just telling you.
Were there any
Put out the facts.
officials here? Any representatives? Former mayors, maybe. Former mayors, trustees. Anybody would like to add another few words on this? Heather?
I didn't prepare anything because I didn't know I was going to be asked.
Yes, very good. From the heart.
From the heart. Hi, I'm Heather Staley. I'm from the Town of Union Council. I hear lots of rumors that the Town of Union Council supports this. I haven't heard anything from my fellow council members, but I definitely do not support this. Unfortunately, the Town of Union has no say in the vote for this, but as a mother, I don't know how I could just sit back and do nothing and let this go on. So I'd really like to ask everyone to also put pressure on the elected officials from nearby municipalities, because I believe the pollution will be affecting their jurisdictions as well. And as I said, as a parent, there's just no way that I'm comfortable with this. I realize that in the US, I believe less than 5% of these batteries are being recycled. I know they need recycled, not next to a children's baseball field. That's my issue. And I feel the DEC made a very wrong decision, and I'm very upset that this couldn't be put on hold because I have so many questions for the company. And at this time, there's no way for the public to get together in a forum and ask questions of the officials from Sun Geo. Thank you.
Thank you, Heather. Do we have any other representatives? Any political representatives? Former mayors, trustees? Okay, well, let's open the mic for George. Do you want to say a few words?
Hi, my name is George. I was actually raised here every summer by my grandmother on Jackson Avenue. My mother was born here.
Closer to your mouth.
Right. My mother was born here on Jackson Avenue. She lived, and I visited ever since I was in footed pajamas. Until this day, I decided to do a reverse winter after living 27 years in Florida. What was I thinking? And then COVID came, and I stayed. I am a cancer survivor. I was diagnosed at 35, 6 months after my younger brother died in my arms, because I'm a retired registered nurse, 35 years. Critical care, trauma, pediatric specialist. I took care of many children with cancer and adults. I heard all their stories. I lived in 3 cancer cluster areas. Endicott. I was here 7 years and visited while I was a child. Scranton, Pennsylvania. Acreage, Florida. It's scary. I read the reports. I read the cancer report, the study, after the plume. What you people dealt with for decades and were exposed to not knowing. Now you do know. We're not innocent anymore during the days of Endicott Johnson. They did do well here with innocent ignorance in what they were doing. But those toys are old and they are dropped now. We know more. This is not good for Endicott. My brother died from leukemia caused by exposure to benzene. He was a master carpenter. He was 29. What I wanted to share here is that everybody depends on municipality and the mayor and the trustees. That word is so important. Trust. What we have witnessed as a group, what you see in the news, there must be questions. There must be questions from all of you. Are we trusting the wrong persons? The DEC, I have read the entire report. It's 7 pages long. It is stated several times. They do know toxins are going to leave the stacks. They state it in the paper. However, we have special regulations, so it does not go over and above the proper levels. Paul Connett here has 50 to 60 years experience, and there is no proper level to be exposed. There is no proper level. The lawyer has mimicked and parroted every single words from the DEC, from her alleged engineers from the city of Endicott, parroted without knowledge or understanding. The report, when you look at it, how cavalier can you be with the population of 13,000 people in this village? Many of them, in the hundreds, spoke during the Zoom, stating we don't want it. Did she see the word duh imprinted on your foreheads? Not mine, and I hope not yours. Communication. Do you know how many people I spoke with and bumped into that said, what are you talking about? Do you know, allegedly, it's been in the news since 2018, April 2nd, April 3rd. It came slowly. It came behind the scenes. Everybody states from the village that, oh, we've communicated in the news, in the paper. We've posted in the library. Hello, COVID. Raise your hands if you've been to the library to read the postings there. Not one mailing. I've asked everyone I bump into, did you receive something from the municipality of the village? Did you receive a mailing? Oh, it's too difficult. UE sent mails for the UE school, I was told. Guess what? Guess who you pay your water bill to? The village. They own the water treatment center. They have all of your addresses, all of the thousands of people that live here. That was not due diligence. What Paul has stated before, what has not been done of due diligence is there should have been a 4 to 6 week study of the 500-foot stack in Korea. Why did we? This is not a chocolate factory. This is not Willy Wonka. You think that people in an authoritative position would have come to the critical thinking pathway? Let's send a delegate to Korea with a specialist, an engineer, a chemist that monitored directly the 4 to 6 week period of the effluents, the exhaust that came from their 500-foot stacks. Why wasn't that done? Since we're not dealing with Willy Wonka, since we have the knowledge. I sent on our Facebook page, No Burn Broome, I explained how you can actually check the air in Endicott every single day. It tells you the density of the air, the pollution that's in the air, and what the main pollution is. We run between 23, 25, which is in the good zone. Korea is in the 60s, 80s, up to 105. It changes like every 4 to 6 hours. You can see the air quality globally. Keep yourself informed. If they're in the 60s and 105s, and this is a green company, and we're in the number 3 to 23, I'm not lying, look it up. Don't believe anything I say. Research it yourself. I love Endicott. We should not have heavy industry here. If it was green. If it was green, yes. Are we against recycling? No. Let's not be, we're not that ignorant. We know that it's good, but not 100 feet from a string of homes. 60 feet from 4 baseball fields and a swimming pool. Okay, we don't need it to become a cesspool during a rainstorm as the stuff is coming out of the stack becomes heavy and falls on the ground. We'll dust all the seats of the bleachers that you're going to sit on while you watch a baseball game. This belongs in a sparsely populated area. Not Endicott, New York. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you, George. Thank you. George mentioned something about the pollution. I think I'd just add something to that. You know, when the DEC writes these permits, they give the units in pounds per year. Pounds per year. Let me tell you how that misses the point. There was a study done, it was published last November, just a few months ago, which showed a relationship between the number of nanoparticles per cubic meter and an increase in brain cancer. They said if you had 10,000, this is from Montreal, I believe, 10,000 nanoparticles per cubic meter is associated with an increase of 10% increase in brain cancer. Now let me tell you what 10,000 nanoparticles are so tiny that 10,000 nanoparticles would be about 1/1000th of a gram. 1/1000th of a gram per cubic meter of the pollutants coming out of there could cause an increase in brain cancer. And the DEC doesn't even regulate nanoparticles. I asked them in December the 5th, you've done nothing about nanoparticles. No, you don't have any regulations. So for the DEC, it's simple. If you don't have any regulations, there are no risks. And people that think that way should live right next door to the facility. Not up in Syracuse or Albany. So tiny amounts of these exquisite pollutants can hurt you. And everything depends, well, it actually doesn't. Even when it's working properly, the nanoparticles will escape. The trouble with nanoparticles, they're so tiny, they go through your lung membrane, into your bloodstream, and they can enter every tissue in the body. And I have pictures of nanoparticles in the brain. And I've been showing those pictures around the world. And I use the N there. I say, look, there are the nanoparticles in the brain, but we don't know what it does. If there's any health effects, maybe just sit there doing nothing. And then a few months ago, there's this study, an increase in brain cancer associated with nanoparticles. Okay, Howard wants to say something. Howard is, do you mind, your local dentist, right? I might need you, I've got a tooth.
Unfortunately, first of all, I want to say that I practice in Kirkwood, where an incinerator was supposed to be put many years ago.
That's right.
I didn't oppose it. I didn't even get involved. I only got involved this time because my friends live in Endicott, up on the hill right behind us, and they were deathly afraid of what was going to come out of this building. When I first looked, I said, "Ooh, I don't know if we have time to do anything." They're pretty much at the end of the process, and I started looking at the papers. I started looking at all the laws that were violated, and I thought, this is horrendous. Whether you care or not about what comes out of the building, if you care about democracy, if you care about government, you can't walk away from this. What the mayor and the two other members of the board have done to you is unconscionable. Never did they even listen to you. When you spoke at the public hearing, the mayor and the others were busy looking at their papers. They don't listen, they don't care. If you want to do something for your families, for the future, for your own lives, you have to work hard. You have to send every letter you can. You have to call all day long to all of the politicians that are on the website. We have already gotten Senator Akshar to change his mind. Woo! Now, if we are able to get Donna Lopato to change her mind, that may have an effect.
It's done.
You have to understand, we're going against the governor. We're going against the DEC. There are powerful people here who want us to basically walk away and say, doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter to them because they don't live here. I live in Vestal. I'm not right here. But I know the prevailing winds are going to bring these toxins into my neighborhood. But more importantly, look at the people across the street.
That's right.
Every single day they will have 12 hours of stuff coming out of those stacks. Let me tell you, there is no safe level of dioxin. How do I know this? I practice dentistry. My practice is in Kirkwood. I have many patients who worked in the state office building. Their lives were ruined by the dioxins that damaged that building, 20, 30 years ago. They still have not recovered from that. The effects that they have didn't go away. And I'm telling you, if you want to get the mayor to understand, she lives close to here. Go walk outside her door with your signs. Make it clear to these people that they don't own us. They work for us. This is disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. And if you work hard enough to stop these people, on Monday we might be lucky. They might rescind. But you can't let up. And if they don't rescind, we have to stop it. Because unfortunately, when this building is in production, they won't be testing it daily. They'll be testing it one day a year. If you think that that day is going to be the day when all the poisons are analyzed, you're kidding yourself. They'll take the best test they can. If you think that these people from Korea give a damn about you, you're kidding yourself. They don't give two craps about you. They don't care about your children. They don't care about anything but themselves. All they want is your money and your products. They're going to be trucking trucks every day, gigantic trucks across the street. Did you see the building where they're going to store these batteries? It's a tin can. Your car is stronger than that building. When a lithium battery explodes, it's going to blow out the whole building. And if you think that's never happened, go on the internet and look at the battery recycling plant that burned near Pittsburgh.
Yep.
Within 1 minute, the building was gone. There's no way in the world you're going to be safe if that happens. And worse than that, what do you think's next door to it? It's a NICEAG transformer system, a substation. What do you think's in those? When they burn, it's dioxins. It's the same kind of thing that took down the state office building. And it took them almost 20 years to clean it up. $40 million. It only cost them $18 million to build the building. Do not take this lightly. I'm not even an environmentalist. I'm a dentist. I practice and I do use hydrofluoric acid. And I use it in liquid form. In gaseous form, it'll basically destroy your lungs in no time. This is not a game. They are not telling you the truth. I've never seen such liars in my life, and they're not even worried about anything. What do you think the mayor's going to do when she's done being mayor? She's moving to Florida. She's not staying here. Do you think you're going to go to Florida?
Listen to this. Oh, wait a second. They just changed speakers. I'm at the press conference right now. Hello? Yeah, nobody's speaking right now, but it's kind of a big deal. I'd say they're.
Listen, I want to thank everybody for coming today. Just to wrap this up, we have one ask of all of you between now and Monday. Can you send a simple email to the mayor and the trustees and ask for that question to be put on the agenda for Monday night's meeting? That's it. One question from everybody here, okay? Any question related to the zoning changes and what is being proposed here, okay? They have to address that on Monday. Monday night, it'll be on our website. As far as the meeting that they have, the board meeting, it'll be a Zoom session. You can either get on with your computer and listen in, or you can dial in and listen. But they have to go down through your questions, okay? So one email from everybody by Monday to the mayor, please. Thank you.
Yes, there's one other simple thing you can do. One of Rob's friends, a guy called Seth, is organizing the printing professionally of these signs. Don't burn our future. They'll be done professionally. If you would like one of those on your lawn, in front of your house, that would be a great thing. When people drive around Endicott and they keep seeing these signs, it will hit home. So it's a simple thing. If you want one, we have a sign-up sheet somewhere. Anyway, you could just go to No Burn Broome and ask for the sign. Yeah? Yes. If you want to have one of those signs when they are ready, a few days from now, please, this is Marianne Dorner. She's done a wonderful job here. I must say, as an outsider, you can tell from my accent, I didn't grow up in Endicott, but I live over in Binghamton. I must say, one of all the dreadful things that are happening with this facility, one of the beautiful things is the way that human beings from all walks of life have come together in a very difficult time and shared responsibility and fighting this. Everybody's come together. And I just love it. I love the creativity. We don't know the person that brought this sign. We don't know that person. But they were inspired by saying, there he is over there. It's a beautiful sign. And this lady that made this lovely sign. Everybody can do something, just a little thing. And if you run out of ideas, then give us your money. Okay. Yes, going back to that 20% business, the number of people that live 100 feet from the industrial area, you might not live there, but you might know someone that does, or you might know an owner, an absentee landlord maybe. These people we need to reach.
Or the business owner.
Or a business owner, yeah. So if you know anybody, again, contact Rob, noburnbroome.com.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Any other legislators? Well, I am so pleased. These three girls, the three young women who had this idea and had the guts to really push through, they did a wonderful job. Another round of applause for Liana, Lindsay, Mackenzie. What a trio. What a trio. And thank you also for this wonderful turnout. This was a terrific turnout. Thank you, Lord, for the weather. And thank you for the TV station that showed up. This is a great day. A great day. Thank you very, very much, everybody.
Thanks, Mom.